And another block is going to be small time, sensory play, spooky time, a quiet activity and learning, read alouds. And I have set it up for the different age groups, thinking about what their little bodies and brains need first. So our youngest campers are going to have an opportunity for moving and games first. Right? We're going to feed them and we're going to let them run. And then they're going to be ready to do the next things. So you'll see as we go along when I do more of that. So what are we going to do? What fun are we going to have? Balloon tennis. They are going to be making little tennis rackets and we're going to have balloons and they're going to bash them around and it's going to be awesome. They're going to decorate and paint their t-shirts and I have some bubble discs. They look like giant frisbees, and you put them in a tray of bubbles, and you throw them, and they just make bubbles go everywhere. And then I was inspired by Laura. She plays disc golf, and I can't throw frisbee to save my life, but this lady can. So I found this thing. It's almost like a big, like Oscar the Grouch's trash can. It's like that sort of. And so the kids can try to throw it there, and really, whether they get to it or not is not the point. The point is, they're throwing it at the bin and not each other. So that's going to be awesome. We have all these read alouds, and there are different books at different tables, and so kids are going to have an opportunity to explore a lot of really great books about maybe some questions about God that they've never asked, and some wonderful answers in there. Life-size Candyland, thank you so much to Aaron and his team for helping me to prepare this. There's going to be a giant Candyland game, and the kids are going to do more than just walk along it. Every color that they land on is a different type of activity. Maybe they're doing jumping jacks or taking big cleansing breaths. We have all sorts of things that they're going to do, and then at the end, rather than having winners and losers, when they get to the end, we have big, those punch balls you played with when you were a kid? They're really super stretchy. We have that. They're going to be able to play with that as they get to the end. On the last night, they're actually also going to get candy. But that's if they come to our celebration night. We're not just randomly handing out candy. You're welcome for that.
Have a good plan.
Giant Connect 4, which I know some of you have already seen, but it is ridiculously fun for all ages. It is awesome. And thanks to Chrissy for that. I believe that's a Family Values for Life item that she's sharing. We're making cloud dough. Everybody knows slime and how totally popular it was and how gross and sticky and what a mess and everything. The kids still love it. So we are not doing that, but we're doing something better. It's literally just cornstarch and hair conditioner, and we have glitter too. They're fun. But one of the things we're going to be doing is learning about clouds. And so the kids are going to make their own clouds with this cloud dough, and it'll be a great sensory experience for them, and it'll also tie into what we're learning about God. And on the next slide, I'm going to explain how that possibly tie into God. We're going to be making some stained glass picture frames. We're going to learn a lot about the stained glass through our sanctuary tour and our, what do we call them that? Sanctuary stories with Pastor Mike. So the kids are going to have a chance to really explore what some of that stained glass is like. And I love the idea of kids being familiar when they come back into the sanctuary. Like, they're sitting in church, maybe they might otherwise have been a little bit bored, and they'll be like, oh, I remember that one. I made something like that. And that sanctuary scavenger hunt and the sanctuary tour, and again, thanks to Erin for getting helping me with the sanctuary scavenger hunt piece. We are going to make stained glass, sort of, more of like a mosaic, but sidewalk chalk art. And so that the kids have every opportunity, everything that we're doing is going to tie back into what they're learning about God. It might all seem disconnected now, but just process. They're going to make their own bubble wands, but not, those little piddly ones you get, like bubble wands. And that will make huge, huge bubbles. And we have like unbreakable bubble solution. So some of these balloons are almost balloons, right? These bubbles are going to be enormous. And then these water gloves. Thank you to Kevin and family for trying them out in advance. We know that Kevin's kiddos have lots of energy, right, Maisie? And I said, I've told people they're unbreakable, so could you please blow some up and then set your kids on them, let them go to town, and if they're truly unbreakable, we'll know that, and it'll be awesome. You have something to share, Maisie?
No.
Oh, seemed like maybe you did.
I did, but I decided not to.
Totally valid. Yep, awesome. Okay. Did they perish?
They perish.
Oh, did they at least get some good fun in first?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
But they ran into the air then.
They ran into the air vent.
Maybe they don't survive an air vent.
Yeah, so we're going to keep the unbreakable water orbs away from air vents, and it should be great. It should be fun. Yeah. So the question with this list of activities for me is, why do we do what we do? Why are we doing this with our campers? None of it's random. I created this from scratch. Everything has a purpose. So I'm going to give you an example, because I realize this might be a little bit small, and for our folks at home. Our campers will spend time watching the clouds and exploring books about clouds, talking about what they see and they imagine in the cloud shapes, discussing with their leaders the idea that God gave us our different perspectives and imaginations as a gift. Wondering at the science behind the clouds and how they work, we've got some great literature to support them. Marveling at God's creation, and then painting clouds onto their camp t-shirts and making glitter cloud dough to create physical reminders of their learning. They will be able to wear their shirts on the final day of camp and afterwards, and they will have the cloud dough to take home to play with and share with their families as they share about what they talked about at camp. Our campers will always be able to look up at the clouds and be reminded of how God created our imagination and our creativity. And I could go into it for the rest of the days, but that's part of the reason why I want our volunteers to come at 1:30, so that you have that opportunity to orient yourself with what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I have all of this that is created for you, that you will be able to see the why behind what we're doing before each day starts. At camp, it's really important that we lead with love. And I know that all of us are here because we love God and because we love kids. I heard a quote, these two quotes, so long ago, and I know you have too. Kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. If our campers come to camp and they don't first feel the love of God, then hearing about the love of God doesn't work. They need to feel the love of God. So our relationships are priority number one. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. If we think back to any of the meaningful moments in our lives, we remember the feeling first. Then we remember names, places, details, but we always remember the feeling first. So how do we help our campers have a week that they can reflect back on and know that they felt the love of the people here at church, of the community around them, and most importantly of God? One of those ways is showing loving respect for our campers and for one another. We will refer to our campers and one another by the pronouns listed on their name tags. And I know this might be new or unfamiliar territory for some of us, and that's okay. We're going to try our best. We know that not all of our campers and not all of our volunteers identify as just the pronoun that we might say for them. We might see a camper and say, oh, she needs to go sit down at her table. She might identify herself, or that person might identify themselves differently, and we're going to have them on our name page, what our pronouns are, and we're going to try really hard. And when we make a mistake, we're not going to beat ourselves up. We're going to say, oh, sorry, and we're going to try again. We're going to go on. We're going to use gender-neutral language as much as possible. We don't need to say, boys and girls, come sit down. We need to get started. We can say, campers, come sit down. Friends, let's do this together. and with each other. We can say, leaders, can you help me? Or we can see someone's name on their name tag and call them by name. It's a very important way for people to know we see them and we honor who God has created them to be. We also can use God when speaking about God. Here's what I mean. In the scripture from this morning, ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and sky. Through everything God made, they can see His invisible qualities. It's actually how it is in the scripture version that I found. And there are gender-neutral versions of the Bible, but in this one, it said His. I know that God is sometimes referred to as He, Him, His in the Bible, and also, as we heard this morning, even in Kate's sermon, about God identifying God itself as like a mother hen, right? So we know that God encompasses so much of God's creation, and one of the ways that we can acknowledge that is to talk about God and God's self. So instead of saying His, we can say God's self. And if we say this, that's okay, because God also refers to God's self as His. But we can just make sure that we are using gender-neutral language as much as we can. Help all of our campers and all of our volunteers know that they're seen and heard here. Rather than having rules, we will have camp agreements to guide our behavior and our campers' behavior. Why do I say our behavior? Because what we model, our kids will mimic. Right? If they see us being safe and respectful and responsible and naming that behavior, they have something to aspire to. I could have written out a list of 200 rules for camp, and it would never be enough. You can't climb on the table. You can't dance on the table. You can't jump off of the table. You can't flip the table. You can't scribble with Sharpie on the table. You can't chew on the edges of the table. You can't hide underneath the table and refuse to come out. You can't push the table into your friend. Right? I could write a list of rules to infinity and beyond, and our super creative kiddos would still find ways to do things that we had never thought they would do. Right? Please don't drink the bubble solution. You know, things like that. But if we know that we're going to be safe and respectful and responsible, and our campers are going to be safe and respectful and responsible, and we can name those behaviors and model those behaviors, our kids have guidelines. So these are our agreements. Again, just like the prayer at the beginning, you're going to find yourself parroting all week long the words safe, respectful, and responsible. When we think about camper behavior, we need to remember that all behavior is communication. All behavior. What I'm doing right now, what you're doing right now, all of our behavior is communicating something. If I was speaking to you, I was supposed to be speaking to you, but I was sitting here with my head down, I was mumbling, you would be picking up that I was communicating something to you in that moment. When we see an undesired behavior, we can ask ourselves what might be driving that behavior. Is our camper tired? It's going to be 2 o'clock. Our youngest campers, some of them, still take an afternoon nap. Might be exhausted. Our volunteers, some of us would already have had busy days, and by 2 o'clock we're hot, we're wilting, right? So instead of saying, oh, I never thought she liked me, she never said spend me in church anyways, and here she is, totally ignoring me, right? You might think, oh, is our fellow volunteer tired? Maybe they're lonely, maybe they're having trouble connecting. Maybe they're overwhelmed, and they signed up to volunteer for camp, and now they wish they wouldn't, and every day is too full, and they don't know what to do. Maybe they're just hungry. Flanagans are hangry people. If you ever think I'm like a little off, I'll always have to just grab a cheese stick or something and just like run up to me, right? It's who we are. We're like Jekyll and Hyde. If we haven't eaten, nope, it's not a good thing. Some of our campers are really like that too. They might be worried about something. If big worry. Or it might be worried like, I know that I wasn't paying attention when they said where the bathroom was, and I'm about to have a problem here. Right? But they might be embarrassed. Well, they might already have had a little problem. So, we want to think about how do we meet their needs. Behaviors driven by needs, perceived needs, for safety, emotional needs, needs for connection and love. And we know that positive behavior is a learned skill. None of us came out of the womb knowing that when a speaker is up at the front, we should be seated in our chair and our body should be still, and you should be nodding and giving me all these lovely nonverbals that I'm getting from you, and the eye contact. None of us were born knowing that when we're done with our muffin, we don't just throw ourselves on the ground. All of these things are learned skills. Just like math or reading. If a child doesn't know how to multiply, we don't punish them. We teach them. We can do the same thing with behaviors. We can teach our campers to use positive behaviors. We're going to talk about how to do that.
I was going to say.
It's coming up, man, I promise. I promise, okay? We can teach positive behaviors by using remind, reinforce, and redirect. I'm going to go into all of these on future slides. Reinforcing. We're naming desired behaviors. Like, thank you, Anne, for sitting so still in your chair. Right? I'm naming what I want to see. Remind. When we're reminding a camper of behavior, it's briefly stated. There are no paragraphs happening in remind. Right? Like, Anne, I really need to see you show me safety by not standing on your chair because it's really important. Because one time a kid fell off and hit their head, and I don't want that to be you, and it can be such a problem, and then you'd have to go. There are no paragraphs in remind. Right? Briefly stated. And it's a positive tone of voice. We want to remind our campers when our emotional scale of maybe 1 being completely unbothered to 10 being ready to quit volunteering at camp and drive straight to Starbucks, right? We want to remind our campers when we're at a 1 or a 2, maybe a 3. We need to make sure that we're reminding in a positive way when we're still here emotionally, because if we're at 8 and we're trying to remind a camper, we're not going to be able to use a positive tone of voice and positive body language. And then we redirect. When we redirect, we name the desired behavior. We set a firm limit. And everything about us is setting that firm limit. Again, briefly stated. We're making a statement, we're not asking questions at that point. Oh, what do you need? No, not the time for that. We're not redirecting. So let's talk about reinforcing. All of our language, it's positive, it's brief, and it's descriptive. And next Sunday, we will hopefully have a chance to practice some of this in some really fun role plays. If you're like, oh, what's going on, right? When we reinforce, we say things like, I noticed that when you were done with your muffin, you kept the wrapper right there on your plate and didn't leave any crumbs. That is so responsible. Right? I've seen campers sitting still with their feet on the ground and their bottoms on the seat. That is safe. You did it. You put the book back right where you found it. That's responsible. You were able to tell your friend that you wanted to use the markers after they were done. That was respectful. How do you feel about that? Feel proud. Yay. Right? This is our reinforcing language, naming those desired behaviors. And it's okay if it feels a little weird and stilted coming out of our mouth at first, if that's not the way we normally talk. It's okay. We're getting used to it. The great thing is, our campers, totally used to it. This is how teachers talk. And they go to school. So we do have some pre-K. Sometimes we need to remind, because we might have stated all the positive things that we saw other campers doing, but this kiddo needs a reminder. We think back to pro-social behavior being just the same as academics. We remind kids too, right? We don't say, you don't know 6 times 8? Nah. say, 6 times 8, I used to hate, but now I know it's 48. We remind them, right? How do we do that? Briefly stated, positive tone of voice, and it can be, show me how you will take that can to the recycling when you're done. That's responsible. Okay? Maybe Grandma Pat is crushing the can, doing whatever. Show me how you'll take that to the recycling when you're done. That's responsible. And then the second she's up to do it, thank you for doing that. You might say, think about your job right now. Students are very familiar with that phrase. Think about your job right now. They know that means knock off whatever it is you're doing and do what you're supposed to do, right? They hear it all the time, so amazing. Can you back me up on that? Is that something a teacher might say?
Yeah.
Think about your job right now. Show me what whatever it is looks like. So if a kid is standing on the seat of the swings and they're swinging wildly, they're looking at you probably because they know. I'm not going to say anything. You can say, show me what safety looks like right now. They're probably going to sit down. And the second they start to sit down, thank you, that is so safe. We name the behavior, and we name the value, the belief, the agreement behind it. And we redirect. Redirecting still names the desired behavior. It sets a firm limit. It's briefly stated, it's not a question. You need to put the book down. We don't rip pages. And the second their hand is up, thank you so much. That's responsible. That was respectful of me when I asked you. We don't let the kid wallow in the feeling of, oh, I'm a book ripper. Right? No, the second they start to change to doing something positive, we name it, we acknowledge it. Now it's positive, right? Thank you for doing that. Thank you for putting that down. Our rules say to, now I said before we don't have rules, but our rules say that we don't scribble with Sharpie. We fill in the blank, right? Kids are familiar with the language of rules. They're not familiar with calling it agreements. Kids get it. These are the rules. This is what we need to do. So now what, Jackie? I reinforced, I reminded, I redirected. Our sweet kiddo is still swinging from the chandeliers. Like, what do I do? I said all the words. I said the magic words. I said the things. I used a tone of voice. It was briefly stated. It didn't work, right? We're going to talk about that. Our goals aren't to make our kids, aren't to control these kids. That's not our goal. Our goals are to help the camper regain self-control. We don't want to control the kids. We want to help them develop their self-control. We want to help them fix the problems made by their behavior, if it's applicable, right? So, book ripper. Book ripper ripped the pages out of this expensive, new, perfectly brand new book. Paid for with the church budget. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's not the time to go to an 8. That's the time to say, how can we fix this? And even if the kid fixing it doesn't fix the book, even if we end up having to throw it away, we need to think about our camper. If they go home knowing, I got in trouble for ripping a page, I don't want to go back tomorrow, Mom. That's one thing. If they say, if we give them a chance, here's some tape, let's fix it. Let's make it okay. They fix it, maybe it looks like crap, maybe we chuck the book later, it doesn't matter. Because the book was never the important thing. It was a camper. And they know, hey, I did something, I fixed it, I made a bad choice, but I learned to do better. And then that whole time you're fixing it. Look at you, we all make mistakes, but you fixed it. How does it feel to be able to fix it? It feels better, yeah. And then you can talk with them, and you can make it something positive, that they learned something. And you can even say, guess what? I make mistakes all the time. I try to fix them. And the great thing is, God knows that everybody makes mistakes and loves us so much. God can fix lots of broken things. Stuff in our life, stuff in our hearts. You can take a broken page and you can make it into something good. That's not when the kids actively ripping. It's not the time for a sermon, right? This is later. We want to preserve our campers' dignity. We want to keep our campers connected to the group. And we want to keep all of our campers safe. Using reinforce, remind, redirect, and some other things we're going to talk about accomplishes that for us. So misbehavior has happened, which it will happen. What do? One of the things that we can do, and if I could, okay, my children, close your eyes. Okay, what is something that we can do if we have misbehavior?
Fix it.
How do we fix it?
Take a break.
We might have to take a break.
We apologize and we do something that.
Apology of action. What about the thing that we misused?
Loss of privilege.
Thank you. Alright, these kids grew up in a school that used responsive classroom, which is what a lot of this is based on. So if we, bravo, you can think. If a camper does something, we can let them try to fix it. Why? Because we want to punish them and make them make up for it? No. Because restoring, bringing restitution, is good for the soul. Right? They can attempt to fix hurt feelings. They can attempt to fix damaged relationships, and they can attempt to fix materials. I'm going to give an example of one of our little guys from the after-school program. Yes. Katie wanted, we'll call him Camper. Katie wanted Camper to come inside from the playground. Camper was hangry. Camper wanted more snacks. Katie said, "It's not time for more snacks. It's over." Camper says, "I hope you starve to death and die."
Yeah, he did.
Camper still didn't want to come in. Eventually, Camper did. And not 5 minutes later, Camper was glued to Katie's side with love and adoration. Crying. Right? There was more going on there.
He missed his mom. Or they missed their mom.
Yeah. So an apology of action had Katie been a camper, it was camper to camper, right? I mean, it's a funny anecdote for us, but from a camper to a camper, hearing, "I hope you starve to death and die," could be really hurtful. Perhaps camper could have written a note, right? And said, "I'm sorry for what I said. I hope you don't starve to death and die." Right? And then may have asked a leader, "Hey, can I go get an extra snack for so-and-so? I want to put it with my note." Yeah, right? An example might be of apology of action. You dumped the group's bucket of bubbles. Maybe camper's upset because they're third in line and they want to be first in line and it's too hard to wait, so they dump the bucket of bubbles. Right? We might say, "You dumped the group's bucket of bubbles. Let's go make another bucket and bring it back to the group." Why? Because we need more bubbles? Yeah. But also because there's a group of kids here who just saw misbehavior. And they identify this as a misbehaving kid, a bad kid, a kid in trouble. Camper knows this. They know how kids treat them. They feel it. But if we let that camper be Camper who brought back the bubbles, we're restoring community for that child. Take a break. Sometimes we need to take a break. Sometimes I need to take a break. Sometimes you will need to take a break. So it might be 3:30. You have had it, and you say to volunteer, "Hey, fellow volunteer, I'm going to take a break in the oasis." What's the oasis? I'll tell you. I need 5 minutes. I need 5 minutes right now. And volunteer says, "That's great. We have enough adults. Please go take care of what you need." Take a break. A camper moves to a designated spot just to regain their self-control. It's not a punishment. It's really brief. This is not time out. This is not, "You were naughty, go sit there." And all the other kids can watch you in the seat of shame. Right? It is not that. This is, "Please take a break in the chair on the lawn. We don't need to have designated take break chairs and spots and whatever. Make it up as you go. Until you're feeling calm and ready to join us. I can help you calm down by breathing together. Right? If we have enough adults, we don't need to send the child, we've never sent them far away. It's always close and within, throwing distance. Not throwing the child, throwing the ball or whatever. If we have enough adults, we can go and we can sit with that child. Because when they were out of control, they weren't wrong, they were out of control. They might not know how to regain control. We can model it, we can help them. We can bring them along on the journey. And it might be good for us too. Loss of privilege. Something is lost for a period of time. You rip the pages of this book. You can't read books with paper pages. You can read the board books. Right? Or, this may happen, you sprayed the fabric paint at another camper. Notice we're naming a behavior, not a character trait. That is not safe. You can use the sponge paint instead. So we don't say, you sprayed the fabric paint at another camper? That was so mean. That was really rude. Nope. We name the behavior. We name safe, respectful, or responsible, or not. And then we say what they can do differently. We will have a chance to practice some of this hopefully next Sunday.
Will you have signs around anywhere that says?
Everywhere.
Is it safe?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Yes, safe, respectful, responsible. You don't have to remember all of this, right? Now, when I was preparing, I was thinking that we would have a much higher number of campers, but just due to several factors, our camp is going to be a little more cozy this year. And so when I was thinking we'd have 50, 60 campers, I thought about the compass room. Now, we might not have much of a need for that, but our compass room is going to be adjacent to our health room. Okay? A compass room is where campers can go to reorient and find their direction. Sometimes we have reminded, and we have reinforced, and we have redirected 5 times. Our camper can find their self-control. Our camper isn't able to calm down in the context of being with our group, doing tie-dye, doing whatever it is. It's not, they can't access that right now. So we have another space for them that's specifically designed to support them. It's positive, it's not punitive. It's not get to the compass room, at it. I as a leader am at an 8, don't want to get to a 10, get out of my sight. It is not that. It's a sensory-friendly space in 104A and 104B, right there. It's going to be housed with a health room. We're going to have one consistent volunteer the entire time. Why? Relationship. We're going to have brief visits so that we don't have a camper who really loves the compass room and decides that that is camp. Right? For the entirety of their week. And we want them to have relationships with their fellow campers and more staff than just whoever's in the compass room. Some of your materials we have, bean bags that are comfy and squishy to sit on. Therapy buddy. Why? Sensory input, super important. SEL books, that's like social and emotional learning. Things like, God made all your feelings. We can sit, the volunteer who's working there, it's like, I'm so glad you're here in the compass room with me. I've been wanting to reread this book. I love it so much. You want to read it with me? Yes.
Is it there?
I don't know yet. I've asked. Paper and markers. Sometimes we need to express ourselves. A small trampoline, thank you to Grandma Pat, gave it to Jen, gave it to First Covenant. The joint compressions, what we know about kids is that bouncing gives us joint compressions. Joint compressions help to settle our central nervous system. A soothing scent. There are some unsoothing scents in some of these rooms. I have bought little plug-ins. They're going to be lavender or vanilla, and it's not going to smell like in there. And nice low lighting, calm soothing. Our doors are always open in the compass room. It's a choice to go in, it's a choice to come out. It is not being sent to the principal's office. Why might a camper visit our compass room? Maybe they're just tired and need to rest. We certainly have that in the after-school program. They just might need to rest. They might be feeling unwell and go, I don't know if I'm sick enough for the nurse, but relationship check-in and support. We might have campers who right away say, I want to go to the compass room. Do they have to misbehave in order to go to the compass room? No. Right? A camper can request. Remember, it's a positive place. Maybe there's a person that works in the compass room that our camper loves and knows they're loved by, and they want to check in every day, and they want to check out every day. Yes. Double yes. Sometimes kids need privacy or time to meet their sensory, physical, or emotional needs. The way I think about that is this. Kids in school, sometimes they throw up, right? We've all had the stomach flu. We know sometimes if you have the stomach flu, you're going to throw up. Whether you want to, whether you're trying to, it is something that is happening to you. And when it happens to you, if you were in public, it would be embarrassing. You know, people would remember it. You would be, oh, that was a volunteer that puked all over my shoes in camp, right? You don't want to be remembered that way. When kids have big emotions that are overtaking their sensory, physical, or emotional needs, or emotional state at that time, you can think about it as something like an attack of the stomach flu that is happening to them. We honor them by giving them privacy and time to get themselves back regulated so that when they're with their group, they're not perceived as the bad kid. They're not perceived as the kid who's always in trouble. Their best self is there in front of others, and their self that needs help and love and support is given privacy and time. That's the purpose of the compass room. I want to be really clear about that. This is not the principal's office. This is not in trouble. This is a support. Yay, now you can get up. Oh. Not yet. Whoa. Nope. Okay, there we go. If you have, well, actually, Laura, are you all right if people come to you and just check in on the background check piece?
Yes.
Okay, so what I have here, I printed off a lot of them because I didn't know how many people would already be in our system.
If you're going to need the actual forms though.
Bravo.
Make sure that address and stuff is correct in PCS.
Okay, so if you could check in with Laura about your background check situation. Volunteer position requests, I will take, I'm going to figure something out technology-wise with that. We might have to push that one off till later with the whole presentation thing. Water bottles core. Our kids are going to have water bottles that they are going to decorate, and we want to make sure that we are modeling everything positive for our kiddos, including, you might think it's silly, proper use of water bottles, right? If kids see us with our water bottles and we're using them properly, that gives them a model and a guide, and it's super fun because I got all these amazing water bottle stickers. These are waterproof ones. They're like the ones you put on like your Tito's or whatever. Feel free to decorate yours. We also have some Sharpies to put your name on it, please. And then these outline markers that are a bunch of different colors. And then I will have these washed and ready for you for the first day of camp. And then more snacks if you want them. And then a bathroom break and a stretch break. We want to have this done in 15 minutes or less.
Do you want to use my computer for your volunteer?
Yes, please. Yay, Kate. So, Kate, that is in the, what I'm hoping is that folks can come and then, well, I'll talk to you about it in a minute. The volunteer position request, Kate to save the day, you can go to her. So if you can stop at Laura and Kate, that in this 15 minutes would be great. This does not need to be done in order. Please do it in whatever order is most efficient. Aaron?
Can I have 10 stickers on my bottle?
If you can fit 10 stickers, you could, but remember that we're responsible with our materials and we want to think about all of the campers. So maybe you start with 3, Aaron, and then if there are lots left over, you can try again. Okay, we have Encanto here. When Encanto is done, possibly before, we're going to move on. All right, up and at 'em.
you are on 14th Street, right there. That's my but it's got my email.
You will have a chance to come back to the rotations at the end if there's anything you didn't have a chance to finish.
We only had 2 things, right?
You did not have a lot to do. Well, you had 2 things, but you also had the volunteer, okay, and you had the background check. And you had a bathroom break and a snack break. If you need to take care of those things, that's fine, but you can check in with Laura about the background check later if you need to.
Everybody checked it in, and I already filled out the form.
A+ team, bravo.
So Laura, I should.
Okay, so we're gonna get started. We are gonna talk about technology. Thank you to Danya for helping with the YouTube technology, Laura for helping with the background, check technology, Kate for all things technology. I could not have done anything without her so far. Let's talk about technology during camp. Technology is a part of life. right? It's neither good nor bad. It is, and it can be good or bad, depending on how it's used. I have chosen not to use walkie-talkies for communication, but we are going to use cell phones. I am not going to try to ask our youth volunteers or our adult volunteers to not be on their phones. Controversial maybe, right? Our devices, our mobile devices, whatever we're using, are tools to make camp better and safer for our campers. We and our youth volunteers can use our devices in that way. How are we going to do that? By asking ourselves, is my use of my device, my phone, my iPad, whatever it is I need, right now, making camp better for my campers? If I am leading a craft, but everybody's doing it, and I'm sneakily taking out my phone and scrolling Instagram, I'm not making camp better for my campers because I'm not engaging with them. I might be missing really valuable opportunities to build relationships. Even if that relationship is being built just by me sitting next to them and being able to comment on the art that they're doing. I can use my device to make camp better for my campers by maybe taking some pictures and submitting them so that we can add them to the slideshow that we're going to do after the week of camp is over. I might be able to see some amazing moments happening that whoever is on our photography team isn't able to connect with in that moment. I might be able to document some really great things that happen at camp. Nancy?
I know at Wednesday night, we had a couple parents that specifically said, you're not getting pictures of my kids. And some kids, you need to ask first, can I take your picture?
Thank you so much for saying that. That's exactly right. So our campers I will clarify that. The campers that are here, when parents are signing them up, it's an opt-out situation. So when our campers are signed up, by signing up, they're opting in to having their photograph taken, unless they explicitly opt out for some reason. So the photos that we're taking will be used for intra-camp stuff, projected on the screen in a Sunday service. Okay? It's really different than if we were taking pictures of our campers, had a great week at camp, and posting it on Facebook with children's faces. That's not going to happen, right? That's not necessarily making camp better for our campers. Let's say we're having an amazing time, and we really want to show that we had a great time at camp. We might say to our campers, I really want to take a picture of us, but I know it's respectful not to post pictures of people's faces online. What could we do? Question. Oh, you know what? Maybe we could put our arms around each other's shoulders, lined up, and take a picture of our backs. Wouldn't that be a great picture? Oh, good. Right? That could be an option. But really taking photos is just a small thing that could happen. There's another use that we have for our mobile devices during camp. We are not using walkie-talkies between leaders to communicate. Why? We're going to go back to respecting the child. When camper A is having a meltdown, ripping the book pages, and volunteer is like, oh, I reinforced, I reminded, I redirected, pages are flying, I don't know what to do. And volunteer says, I need to get the walkie-talkie and get some help in here, right? With the walkie-talkie, hey Jackie, so-and-so is ripping up all these pages, I don't know what to do. Guess who hears that? Campers, volunteers, everybody. And most importantly, the child sitting right there. Right? And all of the other volunteers in all of the other places that might have walkie-talkies, all of those campers get to hear it too. They might never even have met a camper, but now they already know. okay? We want to protect our kids' dignity at all times. So, we are going to text if we need help. Why? It's private. Respectful of our campers. And let's say I'm in my group having a problem. I don't need a walkie-talkie blaring into somebody else's group, interrupting what they're doing. Maybe they're outside. Now their group was interrupted by this behavior. We don't want to give power to unwanted behaviors, right? We want this camp to be wonderful for all of our kids all the time. So, when we text, here's how we're going to do it. We are going to be short and concise. We will avoid student names. Teacher on leave. Camper names, if possible. I'll talk about that more in a minute. We're going to use whole group texts only for information that everybody needs to know, or in an SOS situation. Let's say we just found out there was a tornado watch. You can text the entire group, tornado watch, right? Let's say there is a vomit spill in Upper Fellowship Hall. Vomit spill, Upper Fellowship Hall. Now the other volunteers know we're just going to avoid that area, right? We're going to use our technology appropriately at all times. When should I and how would I contact Jackie or other leaders during camp? 1, medical situation. There's been an illness or an injury, we need help. If there is significant enough illness that we feel worried and maybe we wonder about taking them to the health room, contact me. Injury. Now injury, that does not mean, oh, camper bumped into the table. That means broken skin. So there's blood of any kind. I need to know. Any injury to a head, I need to know. Let me know. Camper needs behavior support. Go ahead, contact me. There's a missing camper. That is a time when it is okay to put a whole group text looking for so-and-so. You can use the camper's name. And urgent questions that cannot wait until you see me later. Respect for our campers' privacy is number 1. When we talk about our campers, we need to speak about every camper as though their parent is standing right behind us. It changes how we think. It changes how we talk. Every kid here, everybody here is somebody's somebody. Right? Everybody is the star of the moons to somebody. And we need to speak about them as though that person that loves them more than life itself is standing right behind us. So for example, we would say in our text, I need someone to come to room 104 to clean up vomit. I'm talking about puke, it's hot, it's gonna happen. I'm just stealing myself right now, right? Versus, Robert puked all over the floor. That's not a text we're gonna send. It's not respectful of the child, it's not concise, it doesn't tell me what you need, it doesn't tell me where. We would say, I need help with the behavior in Lower Fellowship Hall. I'm naming my need. I'm saying where it is, and I'm saying what I need help with. Instead of, Robert's going crazy down here. Right? Well, yeah, it's a bad day for Robert. That day. So we just want to think about always making sure to protect the identity of the child at all times. Speaking of protecting kids. And if you are listening on YouTube, this is the time to not also be doing the dishes or whatever else. This is the time to focus and pay very close attention. This is a non-negotiable time for us to give all of our best attention to what we're going to talk about here. Safety first. Our commitments are to protect our campers and to protect ourselves and our church from any kind of harm, any perceived harm, or any accusation. So we will follow the following guidelines. If these are guidelines that don't sit right for you, that you don't think that you can make a commitment to, please talk to me. Discovery Camp might not be the right fit for you, and that's okay. We can see you serving some other way in the church at some time, but this might not be for you. We will follow the rule of 3 where all can see. Okay? Rule of 3 where all can see. What is it, everybody?
Rule of 3, where all can see.
Try it again.
Rule of 3, where all can see.
What does this mean? There always needs to be 3 people in any situation. That 3 people can be 1 adult or teen with 2 or more campers. Or it can be 2 or more adults or teens with 1 camper. Let me give some examples. Robert gets a bloody nose and has to leave the group. Oh, Robert, right? A leader can take Robert to the health room through the main hallways. We're not going in secret stairways with kids, because there are some fun ones in this building. It's not the time for us to explore. To another adult. We'll have an adult in the staff room. When they're traveling through the hallways to get to the health room, we're all can see, right? And rule of 3, they take Robert to the health room. Now we have 2 adults and 1 camper. Rule of 3. Poor Robert. Robert refuses, in another scenario, to leave the playground, and the rest of the group has gone inside. This definitely has happened in the after-school program. What do you do? Well, I can't leave Robert in the playground all alone, but the whole group has gone in, and my other volunteer has gone in, and now it's just the 2 of us. That's not rule of 3 where all can see. What do? You call, or you text me for another teen or adult, or you just text the group, for another teen or adult to join you while you help Robert make the choice to come inside. 2 adults, 1 camper. Rule of 3, we're on the playground, we're all can see. Easy peasy. Robert needs help in the bathroom. This might happen for our younger campers. Sorry, Robert has to take care of his needs the best that he can. We are a pre-K through 5th grade program. Everyone's expected to take care of their toilet needs. A teen or adult will not, in any circumstance, join a lone child in the bathroom. It's not going to happen here. If the child has had an accident or if there's something like that that needs to be taken care of, we call the parent. It's not to any of us to have any kind of contact with the child in that way. Robert runs off through the building. What do? Do we go searching for Robert? Yes, of course. We ask another teen or adult to help us find Robert, and we communicate as soon as Robert is found, and we bring Robert to a main area where all can see. I want to know if we have questions about this. I want to know if there's anything that comes to mind where you say, Jackie, but what about, and that's okay. It's good to have questions. Let's take the time to talk about them. Katie.
The compass room, there's only 1 adult staff.
So smart. It's almost like I planned to do there, but I didn't. The compass room and the health room are adjoining. So there will be one staff in the health room and 1 staff or volunteer in the compass room, but they're adjoining, and so it's a shared space. There will always be 2 adults in there.
What if the child doesn't come out of it?
The child won't come out of the bathroom. Yeah. We give them a little time. Sometimes it takes some time. And they might need that. Or it might be, we wait until there's another camper that has to use, maybe we just give them some time and space, and then we wait till there's another camper that needs to use the bathroom. Now we've got 2 campers in the bathroom and 1 adult, rule of 3. Right? And then when we're in there, we can encourage the camper. Is there anything you need? Do you need to change your clothes? Do you need us to call your parents? Is there something going on? But when that other camper leaves, you say, oh, I need to step out for a couple minutes. I'm going to give you some time. We're not ever alone in a bathroom with a child. Yes?
I'm having technology anxiety. Okay, so are we going to have this magic number? That
Yes.
we get on our phone to text you? And then, I don't text real fast. It'd be not quick for me to push a button and say, help! So you got this kid swinging from the rafters and you're by yourself, so there's no rule of 3, and I'm like, trying to text.
Okay, so pick up your phone. Do you have Siri?
Do I what?
Siri?
Not on my phone.
Okay, you pick up your phone and text or call Jackie immediately with urgent safety concerns. This is my number. Add my number to your contacts right now. Everyone, please. Take out your phones. If you're at home, if you're watching this, add my number to your contacts right now. And so Nancy, I might be the one who comes and helps you, or I might be the one who reaches out to another helper to come and help you and give you that rule of 3. If you had a phone, Nancy, I know you do. So sometimes we have safety concerns about things that aren't happening right here in camp. We get to know our campers, we get to know their lives. We know that life is messy and hard. We might have concerns about what might be happening outside of camp. We could have suspected neglect, physical or sexual abuse, or unsafe situations that we think could be happening in our campers' lives. You will report it ASAP to Jackie or any member of the ministry team, Kate or Laura, because we will talk about it. Oh, and Pastor Ann, Pastor Mike will be here, Aaron, thank you. You may also need to contact Ramsey County Department of Human Services, but we will help you if the situation arises. I will tell you that simply telling one of us does not absolve you of a responsibility to possibly also report it to the county, but we don't even need to get into that right now. That's mandated reporter stuff. Everybody on the ministry team I know has had training. We will work it out. But if in doubt, share your concern with one of us. If I'm available, please share your concern with me. Before I do anything with it, I will check with the ministry team. They know a lot more about a lot of our families than I do. There's wisdom, there's history, there's discernment that goes into what we do next. But your job is to communicate. Okay? And that's a communication in person, that is not a text. That's a face-to-face. I see you, you see me. What'd you say?
I said, I'm sure you get scared of kids.
Don't be scared of kids. We are.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I know. It can feel a little heavy, and actually, I kind of want it to feel heavy. I want it to feel serious. I want it to be something that we really pay attention to. Accusations of physical and sexual abuse take down churches all the time. And real, devastating, horrific abuse happens within some church walls. That will not be First Covenant during Discovery Camp. Hopefully never ever, but definitely not during my camp. So, let's talk about physical touch. Physical touch is important. It's a super important way that we show affection and we build relationships in life. Here's a good rule. Campers must initiate all physical touch. Campers initiate. When they initiate, they're giving us their consent. We will ask for consent every single time if we want to touch a camper. Here's what I mean. Camper falls down, hurts their knee, right? Right. Can I wipe off your knee for you? Can I put a Band-Aid on for you? Camper has fallen, insists they can't walk, is limping, right? In that particular case, we might say, can I help you down the hall? It doesn't need to be stiff. We don't need to be unloving. We don't need to get they're going to touch you, right? It can be as simple as, let's say you want to show that affection to a camper. You can hold up your hand and say, high five. They still have a chance to give consent, right? Or asking a camper if they would like a fist bump. You want a fist bump? You wait for their consent. If you're unsure if you have a camper's consent, you pause and you clarify. Again, not robotic, not full of fear. We can do this in a fun, relaxed, personable way. Consent is important. And teaching kids that they have the power of consent over their own bodies, it's important not just for camp, but for the rest of their lives. Question?
I was just like,
Oh, you were high-fiving me? Okay. We do not, at camp, give piggyback rides. We do not tickle. And we do not play with our campers in any way that accidental genital contact could occur. And you might think, why? How could that ever happen? Right? Little kids, they treat you like a jungle gym. They want to climb all over you. They want to be everywhere. You might want to pick them up. You pick up a kid, they squirm, and all of a sudden there is a hand where it should not be. Right? Accidental. Absolutely. But we avoid accidental by being proactive and thinking about how we're touching our campers. So we're not doing piggyback rides. We're not doing tickling. We're not wrestling. There are lots of other ways for us to move our bodies and be active and show affection. We never use any form of physical discipline in any circumstance. Well, they had the spray paint in their hand and they were gonna spray it at their friend and their friend's eyes. Oh my gosh, I didn't know what to do, so I just had to grab their arm. Nope, you can grab the canopy. Right? There's always a way to help our campers with their behavior, their choices. There's always a way to keep other people safe without using any kind of physical discipline with our kids. And it's always okay for campers to give you hugs. Do not have a camper come up to you and you're like, oh my gosh, Jackie said no touching, ah! Right? No. If a camper's coming up to you and they're initiating a hug and they want that, their behavior is their consent.
They will.
They will.
5 of them all at the same time.
Exactly. And you have an awesome opportunity in that moment to also say, oh, I love your hugs. Let's hug until the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm done. I'm done hugging. Let's go sit down. What are you modeling? You're modeling your own boundaries and your own ability to give an active consent. Okay? Any questions?
So what about, like laxity then?
Yep.
No?
So I even thought about, thank you for saying that. I feel like it's gonna be really, really sticky hot, and we are not gonna want kids sitting on our laps anyways, those sweaty little beasts. But yeah, a camper, if I want to read a book with a kid and they want to sit on my lap, I might say, you know what? I don't have people sit on my laps, but I love when you sit right next to me. Or, oh, you know what? I can't have people sit on my lap because then only one kid can see the book. Let's sit like this and everybody can see. And I know if we have 4-year-olds and we have to work with it, right? We have to work with what our kids are initiating, and we can remember our guidelines. If you're ever, or Kristen?
Oh, yeah, about high-fiving, do you think it's consent if you clearly, if you have a group, do you need to be high-five to everyone, or just kind of put it up and if they respond, it's consenting?
I think it's one of those things where if a kid wants to give a high five or something, they're going to do it, and if they don't, they won't. Yeah. If it's like, give me a high five, and so you can go get your snack, no. But, just camper choice. Always camper choice. And if you ever wonder, make the choice not to have physical contact. Because I was like, I don't know. I just don't. There are other ways to give affection and attention. Other safety situations. Could be a tornado. There could be inclement weather. We will move to Lower Fellowship Hall and be seated with our campers. The reason we're going to be seated is that when we're calm and we're sitting, our campers are more calm, our campers are sitting, and then the other adults can attend to the weather safety needs going on. Injury. Bring your camper to the health room. Any blood, any body fluid, any blows to the head. An incident report may need to be filled out. May not. They're no big deal. We just document them. We make sure we share them with parents. We don't ever want a kid coming home, even with a tiny Band-Aid, and the parent didn't know why or what. Blood or body fluids. Call or text me. Do not clean it up yourself. In all honesty, I'm going to call Elisa. Not Lisa. Elisa, our custodial staff, or our building manager, or operations manager. She has specific training in how to handle blood and body fluids. Okay? She'll be doing that, none of us will. If there's an unsafe person on First Covenant Church's grounds, or a suspected unsafe person, meaning you feel unsafe, you feel your campers might be unsafe, move your campers to a safe space. That doesn't mean, run in the middle of the garage. Hey guys, we're gonna go in, we're gonna see that movie or whatever. You get your campers calmly, happily where they need to be. Do not engage with the unsafe person. There's no conversation happening back and forth. If it is a 911 emergency, you call 911 first before you let me know, before you let anybody know. You call 911 first. If you are unsure of what to do, you're like, I don't know, do I know this person? Why is this person here? Call me or reach out to any member of the ministry team. You see Laura, you see Kate, you see Aaron, you see Kate, you see Mike, and I guess I Kate twice. Yeah. You reach out to any members of the ministry team. I'm directing camp, but I'm not a member of your ministry team. This is a short-term gig for me, super happy to be here, but I do not have the history, I do not have all of the depth of knowledge that the ministry team has, and I will defer to them in in every situation, but specifically if there's a fire, you will bring your campers to the playground inside the fence. You will call 911 before you let me know, and you will count your campers. Every single day, I want to be able to walk up to every single volunteer and say, hey, Krista, how many campers do you have with you today? I have 5 today. So-and-so is absent. Awesome. Hey, Kevin, how many campers do you have today? 6. Everybody's here. That's awesome. Great. Right? So that when you get out to the playground, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, got them, good, we're done. Okay? And again, you're going to get all of this information in an email. You're going to be able to review all of this. Questions for me? Katie?
When does the mass communications kind of get set up?
Very soon. I was wanting to get our last group of volunteers after what I said in church today, and then I will make a text group with everybody's phone numbers for everybody that's going to be confirmed to volunteer. But it will be you won't have access to everybody else's information. So, for example, you won't have Nancy's phone number attached to Nancy, right? It'll be a group. It will be a group text, but it won't give all of you each other's personal information unless you choose to share it. Mm-hmm. So you'll see little reminders and things like that coming through. Thank you. When you have questions before camp, because I am positive that you will, there's a lot of information drinking water from a fire hose today. As things bubble up and brew around in your mind, please reach out to me. You all have my phone number now. And you can reach me at jackie@first-covenant.org. Our last rotation checklist, I have to check on the Google form thing real quick. We will decorate our t-shirts, and thank you to Kevin. He brought a bunch of pizzas in case you are still hungry. Thank you for being here today and for making camp happen. Literally could not have camp without every one of you. Next Sunday, July 24th, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Dessert and final prep for camp. And if you're watching at home, I need you to be here next Sunday. I know it's asking a lot when I'm already asking you to come for all of camp, but it is super important that we see each other face to face before the very first day of camp. Make sure we have all our forms filled out, give you a chance to make your t-shirts. There are some things, if you're watching from home, that we need to get done before camp begins. If you cannot make it for any reason, please do contact me. We'll figure it out. I can meet you here at church some other time, possibly. We'll work it out. Also, requests for dessert and snacks. Oh, I didn't talk about the Oasis room. We'll do that while we're doing t-shirts. Specific requests for snacks and desserts for next week. Bring them to me. Blow up my phone with texts. I want to get you what you want. Yeah.
How are we doing allergies, such as peanut allergies, things like that with friends?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. To my knowledge, we don't have any volunteers with significant, anaphylactic type health allergies, health needs. We do have a couple campers that have some allergies, but all of the snacks that I've purchased should be allergen friendly, and no one has an anaphylaxis reaction. They just have things that they shouldn't ingest. But when you get your list of campers, you will have access to that important information. And that's part of the coming at 1:30 every day, making sure we have a chance to review our important information. Nancy?
Yeah, on Monday, I could probably do your Monday, but I can do your 1:30 on Monday, but I'll probably have to take off again at 3 o'clock at the latest.
Great, you can send that to me in an email so that I can plug that in. Any general questions that folks at home or online might also want to know? Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to model doing our t-shirts in a minute. So, Donnie, in a minute we can shut this off, thank our friends at home, and then we'll get going with pizza and shirts.